Hello everyone, so I finally finished playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I was very much anticipating this game and really excited for it to continue Cal Kestis's journey and just see again too how he grew as a Jedi. So of course this game came out last week on Friday and it took me about the full week to be able to get through it. I played this on PlayStation 5 and you can see my quote-unquote full playthrough that I'll link up top here after it's done. YouTube was a little weird and copyrighted a few, like, entirety of my videos, including the very beginning and first part of it. So unfortunately it's not my full playthrough, but I still have a decent amount of gameplay on there. This game took me a little over 20 hours to beat first time going around. So I did a lot of the side stuff as I was going around doing the main quest, but I feel like most people will be able to get this done in around the same time I am if you like to search in nook and crannies and go explore, ignore the very important side quests and world-ending kind of stakes that are going on like I do when I play my video games. So yes, without further ado, let me get into my review for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So of course this game is developed by Respawn Entertainment, published by EA, and it is an action-adventure game that is, of course, a direct sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which came out in 2019. So again, you take on the role of Cal Kestis 5 years after the events of that game. So he has grown a lot as a Jedi in terms of his skills, and also, too, the Empire has grown a lot in strength and its resources. So Cal has pretty much, for the past 5 years, completely been taking on and working with Saw Gerrera to take down the Empire, and that is pretty much all that he's doing. The original team that you have has been disbanded and they're all off doing their own things, and again too, they're trying to carve their own paths, but as fate has it, brings them all back together within this game. But of course, yeah, Cal has been completely obsessed with taking down the Empire. He's met a whole bunch of new friends, new people, new co-workers, colleagues, essentially, that he's helping take down the Empire with. So the first mission does start off running really quickly, and it does a lot of things to really set up this story and break your hearts in a lot of ways too, and it does really get into it. Takes a bit of a slow stretch when it's all about rekindling the relationships that you found from the first game, and unfortunately goes down a path of predictability in terms of where this story is going to go and how it's going to unfold in a lot of ways. I'll get into that a little bit here, but I did find that the game did get decently predictable until pretty much the last 3 to 4 hours, where there's one twist that just completely reshapes the storyline, defied my expectations in a really big and really cool way, that just opened up this game in so many ways to me, and brought on an amazing sequence with Seer, who you know from the last games, which was absolutely incredible and easily my favorite part of this game. Unfortunately, yeah, my favorite part of this game was when it's not focused on Cal, but it was just an absolutely amazing sequence, and it really carried that amazing momentum with really good characters until the end of this game, where I found it ended extremely flat for me. Again, too, it was such a high note to end extremely abruptly, and it has always been a pet peeve of mine when games always talk about getting to this end goal, getting to this end place. You finally get there, last mission's there, and there's just this one linear path for 5 minutes that you explore, and that's all that you can do in this place that you've been trying and waiting the whole game to get to. It's all talking about building basically a safe haven for people running from the Empire, and you don't get to do any of that. It all just ends extremely abruptly when you get there, and that's always been a major pet peeve of mine, and that is unfortunately where this game leaves off. Of course, things that you missed, side quests that you missed during the game, like during your time with the campaign, you can go back and do, but there's nothing more to build off of. And I know they're saving that for the next game, but it always just feels really cheap, and I wish there was a way that they could start the rebuilding process here, because it's just a major pet peeve of mine when you spend all your time trying to get to one place and then you're locked out and you have to wait who knows how long for the next game to come out. So again too, this game does do a lot of really great things to grow their characters, and Grease is still the amazing comedic relief. You get a lot more about Merrim, and she's easily too one of the standout characters. Really, really cool. But I wish we would have gotten a lot more about her backstory, and we do get to know a little bit of what she's been up to, and her powers have grown a lot. But same thing with Seer and Cordova. There's a lot that you get to learn about them too, and they've grown in their powers too, especially Seer. She has fully embraced the Order and her Jedi ways, and again, too, some of the things that she does is absolutely incredible and channels a lot of the Force Awakens kind of moments that you'll get in those video games. And that's just really, really cool and spectacular in so many ways. Um, so of course BD1 is absolutely awesome, and there's a lot more abilities that he can do. He can open up chests, place a lot of things. It's really, really good. And then Cal has easily become one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, especially when it comes to the video games. He's awesome. I love the performance from the actor, and yeah, it's just there's a lot to love about Cal, and they really, really grow his character in a lot of interesting ways and have him fighting again to the dark side, his obsession with taking down the Empire, and again to the main villain that comes into this game. Just it's a really good parallel to Cal in just so many ways, and I do feel like the next game we're gonna see a true battle between the good and evil within Cal, and something that can just solidify him as one of the best Star Wars heroes. So I am, even though it ended really, really flat for me, I am extremely excited to see more of Cal's growth and how they're going to be able to do that in future games. Because again, too, he's an amazing character. I love playing as, I love learning as, love seeing him grow. He's again, too, just an amazing character. And I do really hope that we can see him in live action one day too, but I can't wait to play more of him in upcoming video games. So when it comes to the gameplay, before I get into the mechanics of whatnot, this game does suffer from a lot of technical issues, lots of delayed texture drop-ins, lots of things where textures just don't really load at all. Bunch of frame rate issues that thankfully never happened to me during the combats, but a lot during the exploring, a lot during technically the cutscenes. So, in God of War and basically most video games now where they don't want to cut away or they don't want to have loading screens, the character will go like shimmy through a really tight area. Lots of technical issues, and again, frame rate issues within there. Exploring when it opens up to new worlds, when you get off of the Mantis, again, too, just more frame rate issues there. And 4 crashes during my 20 hours of playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And again, too, I played this on PS5. A lot of that has to do with the massive file size that this game is, where it is 150 gigabytes on PlayStation 5. And there's also too a Day 1 patch that took a little while to update as well. And it, again, too, the game is bigger in size from the last one, but you can tell that they just didn't compress their files. They didn't clean up a lot of things, and it is a grossly exaggerated file size to the actual contents that is within this game. It does not need to be that big, and I know it's even bigger on PC because the files are even less less compressed and less optimized on there too. So it's an excuse that we really shouldn't be seeing in video games ever. Just make sure the games are polished before they're released, because yeah, there was a lot of technical issues that just weren't well done in a lot of ways, and did take away from the experience for me in a lot of ways. But when it comes to the actual technical gameplay itself, it looks really, really pretty. There's some amazingly detailed worlds, and again too, when it comes to customizing your lightsaber, and you get a gun in BD1, it's really, really cool the ways that, again too, you truly are able to flip and see all the options at your disposal. When you're changing the legs on BD1, it's almost like he's on a maintenance shaft, and you see the legs swoop in on a mechanism, and then they'll swoop in again if you want to change them. It's just really, really cool, these little details that they added in to truly make it look like you're in a robot factory or things like that when you're creating BD1, creating your lightsaber, customizing Cal's appearance, because all the loot chests in this are cosmetic based. So you'll find different paint colors for your weapons, for BD1, for your lightsaber. You'll find different appearances for BD1 for Cal. So new pants, new shirts, new jackets, new this one I found was funny. You open up a chest and you find a new beard style for Cal, new hairstyle for Cal, things like that that I just found very interesting items to have in chests, but I thought it was just funny and you can pass it off. And yeah, they're loot chests, but there is a ton of cosmetic things and a ton of chests to go around and find. It's almost intimidating in a lot of ways, but lots to do, explore, and find for Cal. Again, too, they're purely cosmetic based, so there isn't a ton of value if that's something that you're not interested in, or if you find a look for Cal that you just absolutely love, lightsaber, BD1, things like that. So it really kind of all depends if you're someone who really likes to customize your characters or not, if you're going to find a lot of value within running around and finding all these loot chests and exploring every corner of the map. And speaking of the map, I know a lot of people do like it. I am not a fan of, especially when it comes to RPGs or more kind of open world games like this, because it is a lot more open world than it was linear, like in the last, well, in Fallen Order. But I really hate like the 3-level hollow maps that don't put any objectives up, that don't tell you the path to go to. You're constantly, every few seconds, bringing up the map to make certain you're going the right way, you're going down the right path on this ginormous map that has these tiny little crevices and 3 floors to make certain you're going down the exact right one. It's just way too tedious, and again too, it's just not a style that I like. I find it confusing, I find it tedious, I find it annoying having to pull it up all the time. I know a lot of people like it because it kind of puts you a little more into the shoes of the character and not having the objectives and whatnots over your head, knowing where to go, things like that. But I feel like this game would have benefited something from like Ghost of Tsushima, where you can follow the elements. Like you can choose a point on the map that you want to go to, and the elements will kind of guide you to where to go. So it's not in your face, but it's still a way to guide you, again, to like I feel the Force does for a lot of people. A Jedi has a goal that he wants to seek, the Force is going to guide him. His religion is going to guide him, something to at least help you on your way and let you know where you need to go. And again, too, this game does a lot of improvements when it comes to the exploration and the parkour and the puzzle and whatnot that Cal has to his disposal. In the first game, it really just felt like a mix between Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted, things like that, but it does feel like its own thing now, and it gives you a bunch of new tools and gadgets and abilities for Cal to maneuver around the place that, again, too, stems from his Jedi abilities. It's really, really nice that this game didn't do what most games do, where it's, oh, Cal lost all of his abilities, there's this weird reset, and you have to relearn everything again. He has everything that you learned from the previous game, but now there's things that, again, too, that he's learned as a Jedi that help him traverse a little bit more. So again, too, he's able to dash while in the air, so you can jump into the air, spring yourself into the air, do a double jump, and then dash to get further and clear larger crevices. He has a little grappling hook that'll again, too, depending on where these little hooks are placed, you're able to jump, cling yourself onto the wall, do wall runs, or do like jump from wall to wall to wall to wall to wall all the way up, and again, to just bring yourself further places and regain your momentum. So you jump in the air, double jump, dash, hook onto a platform, wall run, and now Cal can double jump and dash again because he's regained his stamina. So you can only do it once, but once you wall run or once you hook onto something to wall run, you have all that stamina back. So again, too, it makes for some really, really fun platforming sequences within this game. There's abilities too where the dash can get you through like laser shields, force shields that you weren't able to within the first game. So I just found that was really, really cool in a lot of ways that Cal was able to do that. And again, too, Miram gives him a power later on in this game that just makes for some amazing sequences and amazing battles against massive droid armies or other Force users. It's really, really cool what they were able to do within this. When it comes to the combat, the biggest difference is the addition of stances. So again, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, it's not like certain enemies are going to be more susceptible 2 different stances, but there's 5 stances in total that you can use, and it all relates to your lightsaber, the gadgets you have at your disposal. You can only have 2 equipped at a time, but these stances can either just be single-bladed lightsaber, Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber, dual-wielding lightsaber, so 2 lightsabers that you're able to have, Kylo Ren's crossguard lightsaber, or you have a single lightsaber and a blaster pistol. So again, too, you can have 2 that you can equip, and the ones that worked for me that I just liked the most was Darth Maul's dual-bladed lightsaber. There was a lot of really, really good moves in there, crowd clearing, and I found it was just really great for mid-distance, but if things got dicey, you could, and there's ability too where you can pull enemies towards you and stun them for a little bit and then use that double-bladed lightsaber just like crowd clear, which I found was great in so many ways. So I really, really like that. And I love the blaster and single-bladed lightsaber. Really, really just great for long distance and mid distance enemies, especially if you have probe droids and things like that flying around. It's really, really good to take out those aerial enemies or jetpack troopers. It's great for that. So yeah, the dual wielding and the single bladed lightsaber are still really, really good, but I just like these styles more. And then the crossguard lightsaber I used decently often. I switched to it, but the problem with it is that it's really, really slow, but it does deal a lot of damage and it looks really, really cool. And I love the sounds of, again, too, just the absolute power coming out of this tiny little lightsaber. So yeah, it's just really, really cool in a lot of ways. And again, too, you can really fine tune it to how you want. And there's a ginormous skills menu that you can put. It just gives you more abilities where Cal can move faster in certain stances. Cal can deal more damage, unlock more moves. The blaster pistol recharges faster. So again, too, with the blaster pistol, you need to hit enemies with your lightsaber to regain the charge of the pistol. How that exactly works, I don't really know. That's just the way it is, and I find it was a fair way to balance the pistol so you're not just the entire way through. And then yes, when it comes to BD1, one of the things that they're able to put onto his character that he can do more is mostly puzzle solving. So you'll find like these blue flames that BD1 is able to shoot this gel at on surfaces to carry that flame to melt away, again, to like almost this webbing. I can't really say too much about what it actually is without spoiling some of the story for you guys if you haven't played it, but it's just basically carry this gel that'll ignite and melt away what's blocking your path. And there's also a little charge that he can use that will stun enemies if you want to shoot enemies with it. Doesn't deal any damage, but it stuns enemies. And basically you use these little charges to power up devices or like generators that need power that'll open doors, move platforms to a certain way. So like say, oh, I can't clear this gap unless I have something to wall run. Shoot this little mechanism, it'll move a platform that you can now wall run and get across from. Just little platforming puzzle sequences like that. But again, too, this map is a lot more open. There's a lot of side quests. There's a lot of boss battles and creatures that you can go and take on in fights. There are some really, really tough boss battles. And I did find that, again, too, in the first game, I didn't really have much trouble when it came to the combat on its own. But when it came to the boss battles, the bosses can be very, very difficult. Sometimes very, very cheap in a lot of ways. There's 2 fights particularly that, again, so I can't get into for spoiler's sake, but are extremely tough fights that I did have to go down a difficulty to end up beating because I suck at I suck at video games sometimes. But yes, overall, there's so much strengths within the game. The Mantis is pretty much the exact same thing as you found in the first game. There's no real cosmetic difference, no hidden passages, things like that. But there is a ton of planets that you can go to explore that all have a decent amount of things to do, quests to do, characters to meet, and just, again, too, things to explore. So there is a decent amount of planets to explore, to go off of. I don't think there's more planets than there was in the first game, but the planets are bigger and there's more to do. There's a gardening section it's a little confusing to unlock and kind of grow in a lot of ways, but it's kind of nice to, again, to just open up the lore. There's lots of text for you to read that, again, to just expand on what's going on within the universe and with the Empire this time, and with, again, to the Jedi Order that's trying to survive during this time. It's a really fascinating tale in a lot of ways, but again, too, ends in a way that's really, really flat for me, and they just could have done so much more. Even to the ending sequence, I find the directing in this game was really, really good until the ending, where there was just these really off-putting and out of place fade to black scenes. A really, really stupid again to trying to do a dramatic thing where Cal's so focused on, again, to himself and the situation that he's in near the like right at the end of this game, and they do that thing where everyone in the background is like moving really, really fast because it's supposed to be standing there doing nothing and everyone's moving around him. And I just found that that was the most off-putting thing within this game, and I was supposed to be extremely dramatic, but I was laughing at it because of how goofy it looked. And again, too, that was just at the ending. So the ending in this game I found was an absolute mess and shouldn't have ended in the way that it did or where it did. But overall, I did find that I still got a good amount of value from this game. There's still more than I need to put in. I would love to do the New Game Plus. I would love to explore more things within this game, which of course I am going to do. And I will definitely do a second playthrough of it. So I can do, there's just some amazing moments that I feel like too, this game can really perfect its formula when it comes to the third one. So even though there's predictability issues, things like that, I still find that this game is very, very well done. But for the full retail price of $95 here in Canada, I'm going to have to give Star Wars Jedi Survivor a 7 out of 10. I do feel like this is a game that you should wait for a price drop, wait for a summer sale to go ahead and play. And again, to hopefully give the developers time to do patches to fix a lot of these technical issues, maybe add more mechanics in, things like that. So as of right now, I don't think it's worth full price that you should go out and play it right now. I do definitely think if you really like the first game, you should play this and you should get into it too. If you haven't played the first game, play them. They're really, really well done. Cal Kestis is an amazing character that I think people should know about. And he has a really, really cool journey that's, I think, again, too, will be perfected from a third game. So I do recommend it, just not right now. They need to fix a few things, and definitely to wait for a lower price. So if you played Star Wars Jedi Survivor, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And of course, if you like this review, definitely give it a thumbs up, and you can check out everything I do on this channel through playlists down below. And I'll link some up top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing and turning that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. If you want to check out the description of this video on my channel bio, there's a link to the Medium Mountain, which is my Discord, where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So you can definitely join that amazing community. Hell, make it even more amazing than this already. And yeah, just awesome, guys.